This is Purslane. It's one of my favorite little plants. A lot of people see it as a common weed, but foragers, and even Michelin-starred chefs, know it as one of the most delicious nutrient-rich greens on earth. With its crisp, lemony bite and succulent leaves, Purslane isn't just tasty, it's one of the best plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids you can eat. I'll show you how to identify Purslane, explain why it's a superfood, and give you a recipe idea that turns this so-called weed into a flavorful meal. So if you've ever wondered what this plant is or how to turn it into food, stick around. And if you enjoy eating things you find growing wild, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. Finding Purslane is easy. It likes to grow where the people are. Start by looking low to the ground. It forms spreading mats, rarely growing taller than a few inches. You'll often find it thriving in gravel or compacted soil. I found this one growing in a Dollar Tree parking lot. Free food at the Dollar Tree. Its stems are smooth and reddish. They almost look plastic, branching out like spokes on a wheel. The leaves are thick, juicy, and spoon-shaped. They grow in clusters, smooth-edged, and bright green. Break one open, and you'll notice its succulent texture and clear sap, like aloe. If the sap looks milky, it's probably something else, and we'll get into that in a second. In midsummer, Purslane blooms with tiny yellow flowers, each with 5 petals. Soon after, it drops countless tiny black seeds that help it spread everywhere. You'll find Purslane just about everywhere in North America, from coast to coast, thriving in all but the coldest regions. It loves heat and disturbed ground, so look for it from Canada down through Mexico. That includes all but the most interior parts of the deserts. If the soil is dry, cracked, or compacted, chances are Purslane is already moving in. As I mentioned, its main lookalike is spurge, a toxic plant with milky white sap, dull papery leaves, and a more upright growth habit. Spurge. The name even sounds horrible. While I'm focusing on common Purslane, there are other species as well, and most are edible. Some grown for food, others as ornamentals. Each has its own flavor and texture, but all share that signature succulent lemony crunch. We'll get to know them in future videos. Once you recognize Purslane's glossy leaves and reddish stems, you'll start spotting it everywhere, in gardens, fields, sidewalks, and parking lots all season long. And you won't have any trouble telling it apart from spurge. Before we move on to why it's such a nutritional powerhouse, did you know that Purslane is a truly cosmopolitan plant? Native to the Mediterranean, it is spread across the globe, thriving wherever humans have disturbed the soil. It most likely come to the Americas with early settlers who valued it as both food and medicine. But why did they value it so highly? Let's find out. Also called verdolagas in Mexican cuisine, Purslane is unique among leafy greens because it's one of the richest plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids, especially alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, which supports heart and brain health. Ounce for ounce, Purslane contains more omega-3s than any other leafy vegetable, rivaling even some fish in its fatty acid profile. That makes it especially valuable for anyone trying to get plant-based omega-3s. To get more, you'd have to eat seaweed, and that doesn't grow wild for most of us. It's not just omega-3s either. Purslane is rich in vitamins A, C, and E, along with magnesium, potassium, and iron. Its antioxidants, especially betalains, the same pigments found in beets, help protect against oxidative stress. Culinary traditions around the world have recognized Purslane's value. Indigenous peoples in North America, farmers in Europe, and cooks across the Middle East and Mexico have long embraced it. Today, Michelin-starred chefs are rediscovering Purslane, putting its tangy crunch on fine dining plates. Like spinach and kale, Purslane contains oxalic acid, so if you're prone to kidney stones, it's best to enjoy it in moderation. Purslane is one of the easiest wild edibles to grow or adopt. It thrives in poor soil, hot weather, and dry conditions, often in places where other vegetables struggle. And fun fact, it often comes along for the ride when you buy bags of garden soil, like this one. If you see it in your garden, don't pull it, especially in dry or compacted soil. Let it spread between your crops as a living ground cover. Purslane helps aerate the soil with its shallow spreading roots, shades it to reduce evaporation, improves moisture retention, and adds organic matter as it decomposes, all while giving you a bonus harvest of nutritious greens. To transplant, dig under its shallow roots, lift gently, and replant in a sunny spot. Order it once and it will likely keep growing with almost no care. You can also collect seeds in late summer, store them dry, then scatter them in spring for your own patch of edible ground cover. Purslane does well in containers and can even thrive alongside taller plants, making it a versatile addition to any garden or balcony. Just sprinkle some seeds in with your other crops and you instantly boost both the variety and nutrients in your harvest. The kitchen is where Purslane shines. Its crisp texture and slightly tangy flavor, partly from naturally occurring oxalic acid, makes it a standout in salads, salsas, and smoothies. Toss it in raw with cucumbers and tomatoes, or add it at the last minute to soups for a bright, fresh kick. But my favorite? Tacos de verdolagas y frijoles negros. That's purslane and black bean tacos. I've included a link to the full recipe in the description below. In traditional Mexican cooking, purslane is simmered with tomatillos, onions, garlics, and chilies, then served with beans or pork. The result is bright, tangy, and satisfying. Why we've turned our backs on this plant north of the border is beyond me. Whether raw, cooked, or tucked into tacos, purslane brings a juicy crunch and a hit of omega-3 that no other terrestrial plant can match. Purslane is easy to identify, super easy to grow, and one of the most heart-healthy greens you can eat. By bringing it into your meals, whether in simple salads or classic tacos, you're rediscovering a food that's been overlooked in America for far too long. If you found this video helpful, like, share, and subscribe to join a community exploring food security, wild edibles, and backyard abundance. And as always, eat the weeds.